Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to assign material orientations to parts, and in this case I will create two different parts. I will tie them together or bond them together, and then I will assign two different orientation to each of these blocks, and I will pull them in from one direction, similar to what you see in that uniaxial tensile test situation. The orientation I will assign is, in one case I will create a datum coordinate system for this part, and then I will create another one for this part. For this one I'm going to use the same as the global one, while for this case I will rotate it, and I will show you how you can rotate that. Once I have done that, then I will go to the material properties and I will assign the material properties to each block, which will be the same, but then I will create local coordinate system which define the orientation of it. So I will just use the material orientation option, and I will rotate the local coordinate axis of this part around y-axis with an angle of 45 degrees, while for this case I will rotate about z-axis, and that will be around -100 degrees. Okay, then let's start doing it in ABAQUS CAE. Okay, let's get started. And firstly I will create a part which is deformable and solid, and using extrusion option. Again, if you're interested in more detailed demonstration of the similar job for using tie constraint, then please look at the video on the top. So I'm using extrusion to extrude the part, and now I'm gonna create another part which I will call part 2. Again, it's 3D solid, and I will use extrusion. So I will start with a rectangle. I will create this kind of similar dimension as I did for the part 1, and I will give the same dimensions here as well for the depth, and I will have a similar sort of cube. Next I will go and create coordinate system to define the coordinate system for each part, which I can then rotate to assign the orientations. So currently it looks like this, that my x, y and z directions are this. So now I'm assigning the start point of the x point, so that you can see now my axis has rotated, and this way now my x-axis, which was in the orthogonal direction to the current one, it has changed its direction. And this way you can create coordinate system. You can do the same for the second one. Again, you see the same universal system as this, and I'm going to keep it like this for the time being so that I don't change its orientation. So again, it's you, if you want to change, you can change like this one. If you don't want to change it, you don't want to change. So these are the global system for each component, and I have reoriented them for each part. Now I will go to the property module, and I will define the material properties. So I'm going to use orthotropic properties, which will require these coefficients. Again, I'm using fictitious values. I feel that these are too high values, so maybe I will have to change, but let's see, first fill these things in. So they are around, I think, these are too high values, so I think it might be better to go back and change it, because if I'm applying a displacement boundary condition, if I give it too stiff, then my solvers will struggle to show any deformation. So I'm just trying to reduce it now so that I can see some elastic deformation, because the main purpose is to show you how the orientation is really defined in the model. You can also try a transverse isotropic or an isotropic, fully anisotropic material as well, and your number of coefficient will change from 21 to 9 to whatever. We're just trying to bringing it down to more realistic values, because these units are, I made the drawing geometry in millimeters, so these units are in Newton per millimeter squares or megapascals. So now I will assign these properties to each part. So properties I'm assigning the same. You can also create two different material properties and assign different properties in that as well, but in this case I will assign the same properties and then I will make it a function of orientation. So once you assign the sections, create sections and assign sections as we did before, I will do that. Now I'm defining the material orientation with reference to its global coordinate system. So I'm going to use this datum coordinate system and I will assign a rotation of this system around an axis. So in this case I'm going to use datum coordinate system 1 rather than the global system, and then I will say okay, I will rotate it around, say, y-axis, which is the vertical axis, this one, and I will give an angle. So you can do distribution, you can just don't rotate or whatever. So I'm rotating it 45, and you can see in the picture they have already rotated around y-axis. Once I have done that, I can just press OK, and now I will go to the next part and I will assign some other orientation to this part. So I will again select the datum for this. Again, remember the datum for this one was slightly different, and in this case I'm rotating around z-axis, which is axis 3, and you again keep an eye on the coordinate system and you can see they have rotated as I give us some certain value. So I gave a value of -10 and it rotated like -100, and now it rotated like that. So we have now assigned the material orientation to assign the material orientation to two or both the parts, and now I'm going to go into the assembly module and I will bring both parts in one module, in the assembly module, and then assemble them together. So again, the same thing as I did for in the previous video, I will create a tie constraint between the two components. So I will tie this surface with the other surface. So I'm creating surfaces first so that when I bring them together, I don't have to really select the surface in the viewport. It will be difficult for me to do at that time. So I'm just creating the surfaces so that I can select directly those surfaces in that. So now I'm going to bring the part 2 nearer to part 1 so that they are in contact with each other, because I want to bond them together. So that's done, and you can see the local coordinates are displayed as well for both parts with reference to global. And now I'm creating a static generalist tab, so I will just use a uniaxial tension test type conditions for this model. For boundary conditions, for interactions, obviously I'm going to use a tie constraint, and for tie constraint I will say create constraint. I will select tie and then I will select surfaces, since I cannot select surfaces now in the viewport, and so that's why I created those surfaces, and I'm selecting those surfaces by just clicking on their names, and you see a tie constraint is created among the two surfaces. And I'm not changing anything in this case as well. I'm using all default values, so everything is constrained. And now I go to the load. For load, again, for those who do RV based studies for uniaxial test and identify material parameters using one element or two elements, they can apply the same boundary condition. So what you have to do is you have to keep this surface fixed in y direction. Again, boundary conditions are in global system again, so pay attention to that. They are not in the local system. So I will fix this phrase into y direction. So these boundary conditions are equivalent to a uniaxial test for one element case, where you are identifying parameters using only one element. Also for the other one, these two surfaces here, I will fix them in z direction, as I will have similar to tensile test. And the last one is fixing something in x direction, so I'm going to fix maybe this face in x direction. So let's apply that, then select the surface, and I will fix them in x direction. Again, everything is global, so pay attention to that. Don't get confused with the local coordinates. Okay, so this is a equivalent boundary condition for a uniaxial tension test if you are doing an RVE type simulation. And in this phase I will apply displacement boundary condition, and I will give it a value, let's say, of 1 or 2 or whatever. So once I have done that, everything is in millimeter. In this case, I have a uniaxial test with two surfaces free, while the three surfaces are fixed in respective normal directions, and on one surface I'm applying displacement boundary conditions. Now I'll mesh the parts. Again, I'm just applying global seeds, keeping my life simple, and I will mesh them one by one. Since ABAQUS for independent meshes, we have to do that. We can't mesh the assembly all together, but we have to do part by part. Now I go to the job and I will apply. I will create a job. I call it orientation in this case, and I will submit. Meanwhile, it's running. I can go and I can check in my input file if my orientations are applied correctly or not. So I can go to .inp file, which I just wrote down as a job name. I can open it in any text editor and I can search for orientation or orient function, for example. So I just say ori and then I look for those keywords. So you see here orientation 1 is these two axes are defined, and then I am rotating around two axes 45 degrees with an angle of 45 degrees, and this is for part 1, and then for part 2 again I'm rotating it around about 3 axes with an angle of -100 degrees. And so everything seems to be assigned pretty well, and both materials have their orientation assigned. So let's get back to the job now, which is running. Again, this warning is for the tie constraint. Since they are too close to each other, so smaller adjustments are not printed, so it's giving you a value that I'm not printing the adjustments for these because they are already very close, but if you want you can ask for extra printouts. And these are the results. So you can see there is an anisotropy there, and you have different deformations in case, and you can see the part which is nearer to the displacement boundary condition is more less stiffer than the one at the start where we have fixed boundary condition, and it has more deformation. You can also see the orientation in real time. So these are the initial orientations. Well, these are the final orientation, but you can also see the final orientation as well by doing the deformation with these axes. So again, you can play around with that and you can see how you can really do better visualization. So you can increase the arrows, you can increase the size of the arrows, for example. So yeah, you can remove the density or reduce the density, sorry. Arrowhead, if you can't see arrowhead, you can have arrowheads as well for axes, and you can see by doing that you have arrowheads as well. So orientations are there, and you can see for both parts the orientation angles are orientation axes are pretty different as we assign. One was 45 degrees about y-axis and the other one was 100 degrees about z-axis. I'm just trying to bring it down, bring all the state blocks, and it's small, so I will just increase the fonts of this. So just say set font, select all of them, and then I will increase the font to see what's there in the legends. And you see each color is one axis, and you can see for the part which is on the other side away from the screen has two axes in the vertical direction, while in the other case it's around in the horizontal axis. So I hope this makes sense.